Hello everyone, I am Gayathri, Assistant Professor of English, Bishop Heber College. In this video, we are going to discuss metaphysical poets. Metaphysical poets is a term refers to a group of poets who lived during 17th century. These poets were called metaphysical poets by the 18th century critic Samuel Johnson, who reproved these poets in his work titled Lives of the Most Eminent English Poets. Johnson criticized these poets for their unnatural and obscure way of writing. Actually, Johnson borrowed this term, metaphysical poets, from John Dryden's phrase, "He affected the metaphysics," in which Dryden referred John Donne, the exponent of metaphysical poetry. These are the list of poets who contributed to the field of metaphysical poetry. The most famous metaphysical poets are John Donne, Andrew Marvell, George Herbert, Abraham Colley, Henry Vaughan, and Richard Crashaw. The contribution of these poets towards metaphysical poetry are immense and profound. There are two kinds of metaphysical poetry. They are spiritual metaphysical poetry and amorous metaphysical poetry. Now we'll see what is spiritual metaphysical poetry. Poems of this category are based on religious or spiritual themes. The most important thing is these poems are devoid of love or lustful thoughts. For example, Death Be Not Proud by John Donne is a good example for spiritual metaphysical poetry. Now the second type, amorous metaphysical poetry. As the name suggests, poems of this category are based on love and sexual themes. For example, To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell is an ever-quoted example for amorous metaphysical poetry. Like other kinds of poetry, metaphysical poetry also has its own characteristics. First, we'll see what is metaphysical. Meta plus physical is metaphysical. Meta means beyond. The word metaphysical means beyond the physical or normal. As the word implies, the foremost characteristic of this poetry is describing things in an unusual way. The next characteristic of metaphysical poetry is conceit. Conceits play a vital role in metaphysical poetry. Now we'll see what is conceit. Conceits. Conceits are far-fetched comparisons, which is an inevitable characteristic of metaphysical poetry. These are the lines from the poem called A Valediction Forbidding Mourning by John Donne. This is a poem about lovers, and in this poem, the speaker, he compares himself and his lady love with the two legs of the compass. He says, if you take a compass, one foot is fixed to a particular place, whereas the other foot, it moves. But wherever the other foot moves, finally it comes to the fixed foot's place. Likewise, the lover, he says, wherever he goes, finally he'll come to his lady love at last, because his love is so intense that he cannot live without her. Alike conceits, hyperbole and novel expressions play an inevitable role in this kind of poetry. The lines below this picture are from the poem called To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell. Again, this is a poem about lovers, and in this poem, the speaker, he openly persuades his lady love to yield for his desires. He says, life is too short and life is so swift that it may end at any time, and anything may happen to them at any time. So before their life ends, they have to enjoy their life, or they have to exchange their love. So to portray that idea, he compares life with winged chariot. So he says life is like winged chariot, so it moves so fast. So before it ends, we have to enjoy our life, or we have to utilize the time which they have. The most notable thing is, though these poets were harshly criticized during their time, it is after 20th century their writings garnered great acclaim by the appreciation of great critics like T.S. Eliot. It is their unique way of writing influenced modern critics and writers who appreciate them for their abundant knowledge and unique writing style. This is a brief description about metaphysical poets. Hope it is useful. Thank you all.